This is from Chris Hedges, always doing excellent writing. Right now he's talking about the genocide in Gaza. And this latest post is called The Last Chapter of Genocide. This is the last chapter of the genocide. It's the final blood-soaked push to drive the Palestinians from Gaza. No food, no medicine, no shelter, no clean water, no electricity. Israel is swiftly turning Gaza into a Dante-esque cauldron of human misery, where Palestinians are being killed in their hundreds and soon again in their thousands and tens of thousands, or they will be forced out, never to return. This final chapter, Hedges writes, marks the end of Israeli lies. The lie of the two-state solution. The lie that Israel respects the laws of war that protect civilians. Yeah, right. The lie that Israel bombs hospitals and schools only because they are used as staging areas for Hamas. Yeah, right. Bullshit. And your mainstream media has tried to continue that lie to say, oh, they were aiming for a Hamas fighter. I like to play the even if there'd been a Hamas fighter in that hospital, you cannot blow up the hospital. Even if there'd been a control center, a Hamas control center under the hospital, you cannot blow up that hospital. It would be like a school shooter going into a school and you blowing up the school. It is utterly unhinged and insane. Even if. Play the even if game with your friends. When they want to argue with you that this genocide is fine, that it's acceptable, that it's okay, play the even if game. I find the even if game is a better one, a better way to get into the debate than to play the I know for certainty there was never a Hamas fighter in a hospital. Maybe there was one time. Even if you can't blow up the hospital, then you are beyond anything Hamas could have ever done. You blew up a fucking hospital. To continue from Hedges, the lie that Hamas uses civilians as human shields while Israel routinely forces captive Palestinians to enter potentially booby-trapped tunnels and buildings ahead of Israeli troops. There are IDF soldiers who have admitted that it's not a rarity. It is every battalion has human shields, Palestinians that they send into buildings to die to find if there's bombs. Like that, human shields is the norm for Israeli troops. The lie that Hamas or Palestine Islamic Jihad, PIJ, are responsible. The charge often being errant Palestinian rockets for the destruction of hospitals, United Nations buildings, or mass Palestinian casualties. Oh yeah, you remember that? They tried that at the beginning of the genocide, like the first month when Israel struck a hospital. They tried to say, oh no, that was Hamas tried to fire a rocket and it accidentally curved around and hit back on its own location. And so Hamas blew up their own hospital by accident. You remember when they tried to pull that in the first month? But the problem was, if you're going to pull that lie, you can't then blow up dozens of other hospitals in Gaza. Because after the first couple ones, people are going to stop believing it was an accident by Hamas, which people were able to prove that even that first one was not an accident by Hamas. The lie that humanitarian aid to Gaza is blocked because Hamas is hijacking the trucks or smuggling the weapons and the war material. The lie that Israeli babies were beheaded, which we know was bullshit. There were only 2 babies on Israel's official report, even. Israel admits this. Only 2 babies died on October 7th, okay? And they were not beheaded. Both of them were in firefight exchanges. The lie that 75% of the tens of thousands killed in Gaza were Hamas terrorists. The lie that Hamas, because it was allegedly rearming and recruiting new fighters, is responsible for the breakdown of the ceasefire. Israel never actually abided by the ceasefire, not all of the rules. They never allowed in the full amount of aid, and then they cut off aid completely, that was what they agreed with the ceasefire. What comes now is mass starvation. The UN Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, said on March 21st, it has 6 days of flour supplies left. Deaths from diseases caused by contaminated water and food. Scores of killed and wounded each day under the relentless assault of bombs, missiles, shells, bullets. Nothing will function. Bakeries, water treatment, sewage plants, everything. Israel has just blown up another hospital. Less than half of 53 emergency vehicles operated by the Red Crescent are functional. Israel's message is unequivocal. Gaza will be uninhabitable. Leave or die. But at the same time, they won't let them leave. So it's leave or die, but we have you imprisoned. It'd be like the U.S. government shooting and bombing Rikers Island on a daily basis, yet making sure that the prisoners remain imprisoned there. Israel habitually signs agreements, including the Camp David Accords and the Oslo Peace Agreement, with timetables and phases. It gets what it wants, in this case, the release of the hostages, in the first phase, and then violates subsequent phases. This pattern has never been broken. Israel does this again and again and again. Israel refused to honor the second phase of the deal. It blocked humanitarian aid for 2 weeks, violating the agreement. It also killed at least 37 Palestinians during the ceasefire. 3 of them were journalists when Israeli drones attacked a relief team in northern Gaza. The Trump White House is cheering the slaughter. Israel's genocidal assault on Gaza is the inevitable denouement of its settler colonial project and apartheid state, the seizure of all of historic Palestine, with the West Bank soon, I expect, to be annexed by Israel, and displacement of all Palestinians has always been the Zionist goal.